Hello, everybody. Welcome back to some Deadlock. We're going to be talking about laning today. Laning is something that is so integral to the game and sets you up for success or failure. And so the number of people I watch not do it the best in my lobbies lately has made me sad. And it kind of inspired me to go, all right, well, what tips and tricks do I know and have learned from playing other MOBAs can I apply to this game and can I share with people to hopefully make them at least think about the laning phase in a better way? So let's get started. Laning tip number one is just don't be toxic, man. Don't be that person who yells at your teammate over not securing souls, or that person that yells at your teammate over dropping kills, or about playing back. Don't be that guy. All it serves to do for 90% of all games is make your teammates just dislike you instantly and put them in a bad mood. And usually people who aren't in a good mood when they play games will not usually play their best because they're in a bad mood and it's making them unhappy to be in the situation they're in. Yeah, you can dislike what your teammates are doing. Yeah, you can be frustrated with them, but don't immediately jump all over somebody and start being toxic towards them because of something going poorly. If they're doing something that you can be like, hey, you're doing this and it's causing us to lose lane, could you not do that? But don't even phrase it like that. Just say, hey, could you do this? Be positive, be proactive. Don't be a jerk. All it does is serve to drag an entire team down. It's just not it. Be better. Don't be like other MOBA communities where all you do is flame people 99% of the time. Be better. Be different. Next step is secure those souls. This is a very basic tip. But the number of games that I'll go into where people don't realize that when the health bar is red and glowy means that a charged melee will kill the minion and give you the souls without having to secure them by shooting them. Or the number of people who will shoot at a minion and then just let the soul float off. It's wild. Yeah, we're still in Oracle 4 at the moment. I've been on a weird losing streak with not the best teammates and not the best gameplay myself, so it's been a time. But even here, there's people who are just letting souls float off into the ether, letting them get denied by the enemy team. Why are you doing that? Secure your souls. And on the subject of denying, try to deny souls. If you're playing back and playing a little bit passive and the enemy team is pushing into you, just kind of peek your head and try and plink plonk and steal their souls away. Maybe they're not securing properly. Another of the what I consider to be more basic tips is your guardian's not gonna save you. Your guardian, your big guy, this butt right here, he's not gonna save you. They do decent damage, but they don't do enough to really scare people away from them, and they're also parryable.
I won't be a victim.
And as a result of them being parryable, people have no problems diving them, especially once you get into more competent lobbies with people who've been playing the game for like hundreds of hours. They're really easy to parry, they're really easy to just break line of sight and not get hit by them, and the amount of damage they do is not that high, and it doesn't scale at all. People are going to dive Guardians constantly. Don't think that yours is going to always protect you. However, that doesn't mean don't try and play around it when you're getting dove. There's a difference between going, okay, I know this won't save me, but my best bet for survival is to hang out around it, and going, oh, Guardian, save me, and just kind of spinning in circles around it and not fighting back. A turn of phrase that I've heard in other MOBAs and personally mentally carry over into this game is you can lose money or you can lose health, but you should not be losing both. Now, what does that generally mean for a game like Deadlock? In other games, it means that because towers, aka guardians, will kill minions and then you don't get any money from them in other MOBAs, it means that you either get to choose to let them go into your tower and try and get what money you can while avoiding the enemy team killing you, or you fight and get the money, but you get really low health. It doesn't happen as much in this game, as Guardians killing them still drop their souls. This game has a bit of a different curve to that, in my opinion. Personal opinion, and how I viewed it, is that the you can lose money or health follows down to the idea of, are you buying your optional lane items from your builds? Are you buying your healing rights, your extra regions, your resto shots? Are you buying those items to make so that your health stays high, effectively, quote, losing money, because a lot of these items that you'll buy early on certain characters will be things that you'll sell later for half value? Or are you choosing to lose health, i.e. not buying them, only going for your core items, and instead playing most of the game around 200 HP and praying that the heal minions will save you? Just buy the lane items. If you're playing into characters like Abrams or Bebop or something like that, reactive barrier is crazy. You'd be kind of insane to not buy it. Extra regen is good into most lanes of the game right now. 3 flat health regen and another 1 out of combat regen, so you're getting an extra 4 total or 5 total. 4 total, I can't count. Outside of combat, as you're running around doing boxes, means that your HP is going to be regenerating really, really quick. The same can be said for healing right. It heals you for 300 HP at base, and that just goes up as you get more spirit power, plus it gives you a little bit of movement speed, making it so that while you're running boxes or doing little small camps next to the lane, you can just have healing going. The number of people I'll see be underneath their guardian, hiding by their shop at 200 or less HP, and then buy a purple item that has no HP regen on it at all, blows my mind. Dying and giving up all those souls that you earn from killing someone is worse than losing 400 souls towards your build and not dying. I promise. Next general tip is play around power spikes. Character like Pocket, for example, when they hit 1600, they're usually buying Cold Front. And if they haven't bought it at 1600, they're buying it at 2400. So you need to be checking how much money the enemy Pocket has, and if they hit this point, just know that they're going to be running at you and doing a big ol' AoE slow while they're dumping their cloak and satchel into you, and just doing, you know, what is that, 150 plus another 100 plus whatever extra spirit power they've gotten along the game, adding on top of that, plus whatever levels they've put into those items. All of that together means you're probably taking 400, 500 damage from the Pocket if they get to full burst you. That's a big thing to watch out for. Another big thing is to watch out for is those 3200 marks. Character like Pocket's not as great of an example for that. Character like Infernus, though, at 3200 souls, they will probably have Duration Extender, making it so that their Afterburn is lasting forever, and improved Spirit, so they have a bunch of extra Spirit power, making Afterburn just burn for a lot more. These are things to watch out for. These are things to look for. Don't be afraid to check your enemy's build as you're laning against them. And that money question doesn't go away the further the game goes along. It's just a little more important in the laning phase, because a Pocket who's gotten Mystic Vol and Cold Front at their 3200 spike is going to do a lot more damage than a Pocket who hasn't quite finished Mystic Vulnerability or Mystic Burst yet. This one's a little bit silly, but it's a pretty solid tip. When you die to the enemy team, they've earned a bunch of money off of that. Make sure you check and see what they spent it on so that you know, oh, I just died. I come back to lane. Oh, they now have Mystic Burst and Quicksilver Reload, and before they only had Mystic Burst. That's really bad for me. Don't come back to lane, notice that they're low health, and immediately try and fight them again. The item they bought might have made them do a lot more burst damage, and so as a result, they're just going to kill you again. Yeah, dying sucks, and trying to get the return kills is not a bad thing, especially when the enemy team is low. But don't just go in blindly and die again. I've seen that one happen a lot lately. Box farm in between waves. Run around, get boxes, get the souls from them, get the statues, get the buffs from them. Do all of that in between your waves. Please, the number of people who I see just sit in lane and end up getting like 700 to 800 souls behind without doing anything at all, because the enemy team knows how to run box routes and you don't. It's pretty high. Now, I'm just going to show off a couple of different spots that I like to run around on the map to get boxes. These are just like personal preferences. You'll be able to find videos that show much, much better box running routes than this video will show you. Go seek those out if you want to learn more about finding true long routes that you can run across the map in order to get boxes. But don't be afraid to just run around and grab what you can see and just do your best. Getting some boxes is better than getting no boxes. Now, those are by no means optimal box routes, those are by no means perfect box routes, but as you can tell, I have boxes that I like to run through and try and make sure that I check and see if they're unbroken as I run around the map. Just find some boxes that you like to make sure that you're checking when you're starting. Learn the more complicated routes as you progress in the game, and don't be afraid to just go and run boxes. Now I'm going to immediately tell you that everything I just said was wrong, because if you miss minion waves, you're losing money. This is a joke. Running boxes is great, but if you can't get back to the lane within like 20-30 seconds, shorten your routes. Because getting back to lane and getting minion farm is always better than running boxes. Exclusively always better than running boxes. Making sure that you get 4 minions, each with their however many souls they drop, is better than getting 8 boxes, half of which could be empty. The wave is always more important, especially in the early game. Running boxes is a great way to supplement your money, great way to make sure that you get exactly enough to buy items on a curve or ahead of curve compared to the enemy team. But please, please, please do not miss your wave. This might be a slightly more advanced tip, but learn your lane matchups. That might sound really complicated, and you should be like, but look at all these characters. There's so many characters to try and learn. Yeah, but you're not playing all of those characters, are you? You're not queuing with all those characters, are you? Well, if you're a new player, you shouldn't be. If you're someone who knows what they're doing, you might not even be watching this video. But if you are, hey, thanks for the view. You don't need to know what every character does exclusively and know the exact values of everything. You can always just open tab and hover over the abilities to figure out what they do. This is a feature in the game. What you should know is what your character's strengths and weaknesses are and how they play into other people. For example, I like playing a lot of Pocket. Pocket's really good at spamming burst damage with spirit damage. They're really good at ranged poke with their first ability. However, by default, they have minus 15% spirit armor. Meaning that if I'm laning against characters like, I don't know, Infernus or Holiday, potentially Dynamo, definitely Seven and Mina, Geist. If I'm playing against any of those characters as Pocket, I need to make sure that I'm not getting poked out like crazy, and I will probably buy both Healing Right and then either Extra Regen or Resto Shot, just because I know I'm going to be getting obliterated because I'm taking 15% more damage from them by default. Or I'll be rushing myself into getting something like Spirit Shielding or Enchanter's Emblem earlier than I normally would to just counteract the fact that Pocket has very bad Spirit Resist to start the game. But your knowledge doesn't even need to be that deep. It could be as simple as understanding, alright, well, Infernus is going to left-click me and poke me by hitting me with Afterburn procs. I just need to make sure that I don't get the full Afterburn proc on me. And that way I don't constantly burn, take damage over time, and have a bad time. Similar things can be said for Mina. You want to make sure that you don't let her get off all hits that she needs in order to proc Love Bites on you. Characters like McGinnis and Graves typically have stuff that they summon during the fight. Graves will throw out their first ability in their ult to summon skulls and zombies. McGinnis will be throwing turrets at you. Make sure you focus those down in lane and you understand that that's what you're dealing with. Realize that playing against characters like Victor and characters like Calico and Billy and Silver are all close-range fighters who want to run at you and get in your face and make you have a bad time that way. Understand that characters like Grey Talon and Vindictor will probably be flying through the air and throwing stuff at you and not be on the ground. You don't need to understand the core of a character's kit to understand how they lane. You don't need to understand everything about a character to understand how they lane. You just need to understand some basics and go, this is what they kind of do. I need to look out for that while I'm playing against them. If you're playing against a Vindicta, don't just stand out in the open all the time, because they will jump in the air and they will just continuously plink plonk at you until they can snipe you with their ult and get free gun damage for it. Don't do that. So the laning stage in this game doesn't have a finite endpoint. There is no, well, at exactly 10 minutes, everyone stops being in lane and leaves to go elsewhere. Laning is laning. People typically stay in lane until they get power spikes, and then they will want to go do other stuff. Some characters, that is, go farm the jungle. Some characters, that is, go gank other lanes. Don't be super worried if, after certain points in time, enemies leave your lane. It'll happen, but don't be afraid to call when they're leaving your lane. I've set myself up a fake lane here in Explorer NYC so I can show an example of what I'm talking about. In this example, I'm laning against Abrams and Lash. And I see Abrams and I'm going to shoot at him and try and fight him, and then I realize the Lash has been gone for a really long time. So, obviously, I should be a good teammate, hold tab, and click on their name. And so my character will say that they're missing on their way to go gank a different lane, which happens a lot, actually. Don't sweat if you miss a missing call, but do try to make sure that if people are missing from wave, call it out. If you have time to clear your wave and you don't see the enemy team, call missing. And to clarify, this is me holding the tab button, and this is me clicking on the character portraits, and it causes my character to say a line in game. You don't even have to communicate by using voice chat or by using text chat. You can use the in-game tools to help you communicate if you don't want to actually use any of the chat functions available to you. There's also a great wheel here that'll help you tell your teammates what you're trying to do. You can say, like, I'm going to shop, retreat, I'm leaving the area. You can tell them thanks. You can say help. You can say I'm going in. You can say stay together. You can say what lane you're headed to. It's great. Don't be afraid to use these features. It'll help your laning phase quite a bit. It'll help the rest of the game too, but if you practice doing it during the laning phase, you'll probably end up being able to do it throughout the rest of the game as well. And that's it. That's all my tips and tricks for laning that I could think of off the top of my head, and I have come up with off the top of my head. Thanks for hanging and watching. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and all that stuff. If you didn't like the video, well, go tell me what I did wrong, and I will be able to improve my craft in the future. And also, you know, comments always help the algorithm. I'm just saying. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I hope to catch you all in the next one.